Hey everybody, welcome to What Culture Gaming. I'm Scott and I've been living on God of War for the last few days. I did the last sitting in like 12 hours. I just sat there and played it because it's one of the most playable, most enjoyable, most well thought out and well paced games in quite a long time. The combat has completely changed. Kratos as a character is completely different. And we've got this little side character called Atreus who doubles as Kratos' son. I'm going to tell you a lot of positive things. Everything will be sans spoilers. But I just need to talk to you about this game because hot damn, it is good. It is easily one of the best PS4 games so far, a landmark career best for Sony Santa Monica, and a purposeful, meaningful advancement of God of War as a franchise. So let's break this down. First up, story. So after the events of God of War 3, Kratos wasn't in the best mindset. He actually tried to take his own life after being forever in the middle of the war between, Athena and all the other gods, shrink with a sword, try to kill myself, and then post-credits we found out that actually tottered off and went somewhere else. All of this sets up the idea that Kratos has settled down with a family. He has a wife and child, and now that his wife has died, her last wish was for him and son Atreus to journey up a nearby mountain and scatter her ashes. But along the way, there are all sorts of deviations. You meet a whole bunch of different characters, whether it be gods or dwarfs, shopkeepers and side quest givers, all those kind of things. But mainly, you're just trying to do this basic thing. You're trying to fulfill this final family wish and just deliver a little bag of ashes to another place. The whole world gets in the way. Now, overall, the general reception to this has been incredibly positive, and you might be wondering why the 10 out of 10s, the 5 stars, all that stuff. What is it about the game if it's just this basic thing? What makes it this exemplary, amazing, forward step for the industry kind of thing? Now, it's mainly because Sony Santa Monica are the guys that helped develop and write the original games in the first place. They know what Kratos used to be like. Mainly the reason that this is so important and purposeful and innovative and progressive is because it's a commentary on violence in games. It kind of talks about that appeal that there is to really over-the-top viscera and gore and brutality in games. And, God of War reveled in that stuff, and Kratos reveled in that as a person too. It's by twinning those things together that allows God of War to make all these comments on video game violence, on the indulgence of brutality and all that kind of stuff, and come out with a really great message, or a really great way of looking at that original trilogy, and a really great way of reframing Kratos. This game is going to spark a whole bunch of conversations, and it's great. It's really, really great to see a figurehead for complete violence and horribleness as Kratos now being quite wise and, reconciling that, hey, I have a problem. I've been through these things. I've done all these horrible deeds. How does someone like him even live? He's a broken man. Atreus is the key to all this, and across a solid 18 to 20-hour journey, only really doing main missions, God of War's reboot recontextualizes the original games. It provides commentary on them from a studio that has clearly matured. Kratos too has a lot to say and a lot to reconcile with when it comes to what he's done and who he is. We'll likely do a spoiler video in a few days when more of you have played it, but for now, know that it's very nuanced, with a lot to take away if you like having in-depth conversations on character motivations and contextual moralities, which I do. Sony have already confirmed another sequel, and the way that this ends, the seeds that they're planting, are fascinating. Next up, presentation. Think Thor Ragnarok's most stylish moments mixed with Horizon Zero Dawn's color palette. Primary colors are everywhere. Luscious blue oceans, red forests, entire realms of forestation and shrubbery. Even the way this game does snow is worthy of an award. It's easily one of the best looking games of the generation and of all time, easily. Now, the biggest thing alongside overhauling Kratos is the new combat model. It's kind of like Darksiders meets Diablo with a pinch of Dark Souls when it comes to behind-the-back lock-on, turtling around enemies, and shoulder-button attack block controls over the top. The Leviathan axe is the perfect follow-up to the Blades of Chaos that we got used to across the 2000s, pinning guys to walls or inflicting frost damage or slicing guys in half, and then recalling the blade and seeing it fly back towards your hand, cutting through 5 more guys along the way. It feels great. There's a hell of a lot of weight and heft to the way that Kratos moves, and every single attack and special that you have just feels brilliant. It propels you from one fight to the next and encourages you to indulge in the side content. But again, if you just want to see the story through, you can absolutely just mainline that. As for Atreus, he gets a dedicated face button to fire off arrows, and you'll need to make use of him to get through some specific enemy encounters. Over time, he goes from, just upgradable to invaluable. You actually need him to open up some specific enemy weak spots so that you can run in as Kratos and deliver the killing blow, or maybe bash his specific enemy's limbs off so you can actually get to the weak spot itself. Now, this actually leads on to one of the minor negatives, as there's only one execution animation per enemy type. The opening sort of 4 to 5 hours when you only have access to your base abilities with only minor upgrades sees you doing the same executions and the same attack animations over and over again. The Ogre enemy type that pops up across the world and the Traveler, they nearly all look exactly the same, and you'll finish off the Ogre in the exact same way. It looks great the first time you do it, like shoulder barging him in the face and, taking him down, but it's like the slightest of shames that they couldn't have just put in more executions for each individual enemy type. Combat itself does fundamentally evolve once you get past the halfway mark. but I really don't want to tell you how. It's one of the reasons that you'll have seen a lot of reviewers say like, hey, we can't tell you what happens towards the latter half of the game. And let's just say that that stuff is great and unexpected. And when it starts to happen, you'll be like, holy shit. Because that's what I was like. Now, the way that this is handled means that the game starts out initially very slowly. There's a 4 to 5 hour bit where you're just getting used to the new sort of combat systems. Kratos certainly looks like an older man. And it takes him that much time to sort of blow the cobwebs off and get used to hacking things apart again. Kratos' moveset is actually huge. Like, in a way, it's quite staggering. One of the biggest complaints about the original trilogy was that it boiled down to just square, 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 triangle over and over and over again. And clearly Sony have gone, okay, we see you, and we're going to do a whole bunch of different stat trees. You get one for the axe, you get one for your shield, you get one for going into Spartan rage mode. And Atreus himself has his own skill tree, which is split into 2 different columns itself. Although you can actually hover over the eventual unlockables that you'll get, and you can tease yourself with what you're eventually going to unlock, you also get a really good idea for how they want you to chain these things together. Between going from the beginning of the game to the end, you'll learn how to trip someone up with your axe, maybe do a whole bunch of combos just unarmed, building up stun damage, finishing someone off with an execution, recalling your axe, cutting through someone else, pinning another guy to a wall, setting off a special attack. It's great, it's glorious, it really starts to blend together, and it comes with time. I do believe that they gave you that initial few hours just to sort of feel out the new combat system so that you're ready for when everything kicks in. Now, another thing that's layered atop all of this is a loot system. Now, I don't know about you, I kind of stayed away from a lot of the more in-depth trailers because I didn't want anything ruined for me. But yeah, there's a loot system in God of War, and thankfully there's no microtransactions, there's no blind boxes, there's nothing like that. But there is a reason to go do side missions and go embark on exploration. You'll nearly always find a new crafting material or something that you can put to better use. And actually, in the open world, you'll find just new moves, which is a bit weird. You just find like a new move in a chest, and it's like, hey, I can do a tornado spin now. Forgot I could do that. Your armor will dictate specific perks, like knock a guy up in the air and there's a higher chance of doing frost damage or something like that. You kind of tag these onto your weapons, so you're always affecting combat in little ways. And numeracies change too. You get like +5 to strength and +20 to defense or whatever. Sony have kind of touted this as, you know, the standard. Play whichever way you want. We support a bunch of different ways to play. I just put a whole lot of points into strength and just cleave the living shit out of everything. Even if you're only doing the main missions, you're still upgrading Kratos in really meaningful ways. There are specific story beats where he gets access to new things, so don't think that you're missing out on anything huge by not doing the side content. All of that is very much an indulgence. All of this just comes together to form a beautiful loop of exploration, genuinely rewarding additions both in armor and attacks, and world building. The story is heartwarming and intelligent, the combat walking a line between bombast and brutality. God of War's reboot is nothing less than one of Sony's greatest achievements. It'll absolutely be responsible for some future generation looking back on what kickstarted their love of gaming in the first place. It's nigh on perfect, a 5-star product through and through, innovative, intelligent, and forward-thinking. I absolutely loved it, and I give it 5 stars. Go play it.
Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Aren't you a star? Don't forget to subscribe below, and also the people who made this video, they're right here, so go and follow them and give them some love. If you want to see more content, there's probably some stuff flowing up above my head. Why not check it out? It could be fun. I'm not your dad.